All right, we come to it at last. Welcome back to Sports Monsters. I'm here with my co-host Matt Denian.
Hey, great to be back, everybody.
Yeah. So we are here going to be talking about the quarter. I guess you could say the finals, and we're going to give our thoughts on the Stanley Cup Championship. Because tonight, as of this recording, the first game starts at around 8. Again, as of this recording. Yeah. So you were right, Matt, from the get-go. You were absolutely right.
Yeah, well, I watched a lot of hockey, but it was pretty obvious. Florida was the deepest and best all-around team. Edmonton has the two best players in the league, and this year their supporting cast has looked a lot better, Edmonton, than it did last year, outside from McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah. I really am I should really just shut my mouth when it comes, because I was like, okay, the Canes are rested. They're going to at least take game one. They took a game, not game one, and that was all they took.
Yeah, similar for the Stars, too, right? I think it was a 4-1 sweep on the other side, too.
Yeah. Dallas, I kind of understand. Dallas, because they were just put through the ringer. I think they had some injuries, too. They basically went through a gauntlet until they got, absolutely, they just ran into a brick wall. That was Edmonton.
Yeah. I mean, these two teams are clearly the best two teams in the league, in the Oilers and the Panthers. That's why a rematch from last year, it's, no question about it. These are the cream of the crop when it comes to that hockey currently.
Yeah, it's funny that this is the fourth time in NHL history that we've had a rematch, back-to-back rematch.
Yeah, and the third in the modern era, and it has an interesting story component to it too. The first time it happened kind of modern era is when the Oilers, with the team that would become a dynasty with Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Paul Coffey and all those guys, lost to the Islanders, and then they would come back and win. The last time it happened before this would be when the Penguins lost to the Red Wings. Now the Penguins with Crosby and Malkin and all those guys would come back and win. And now you have the Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl looking to come back against the Panthers and win, which probably making it cool for the Oilers a little bit, because I'd like to see that. You saw Gretzky do it, and he's clear the best of all time, let alone his generation. Then you had Crosby do it, who was the best of his era, and now McDavid looking to do it, who would just really put that nice 1, 2, 3 of this is the best player in hockey. Lost the previous year, learned the lesson, came back, and was able to overcome.
Yeah, I it's so fascinating to me that these two teams have not lost a step. Neither Edmonton nor Florida did not lose a single step the entire season, and for the most part just dominated. And the fact that we got here, it does say a lot more about getting back to the losers real fast, and I hate to call them, but the loser of the team. But Dallas, I understand as to why them losing. Again, they went through a gauntlet. That game against Vegas must have been brutal. And then you had who did they play next? Winnipeg, right?
Dallas went through Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. That's it. Colorado. I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem. That was 7 games in Colorado. Winnipeg in a hard-checking series, and then ran into, like you said, the buzzsaw that's the Edmonton Oilers right now in the West.
Yeah. Carolina, you have no excuse.
No, and I think they're just overmatched. Part of it is the Panthers are built for playoff hockey. They're a bit of a dirty team. They're certain, I'm not dissing that. I love a team that's hard hitting and stuff and pushes the envelope. That's what Florida does, and they just do it better than anybody else. The Canes do it to an extent, but they're not in the same class as Florida. Yeah. That's obvious.
Now, what does that say about the kind of weakness the NHL East has? Which is funny because you had Toronto, but you had all these teams, and it still feels like the Western Conference is still a bit more dominant.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Toronto should be a good team and push Florida to 7 games, but they're Toronto, so of course they choked it away. But yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot else in the East. Neither one of us really thought, outside of the Lightning, who had the unfortunate draw of the Panthers in the first round, thought that any team was really going to make a ton of noise. It's really hard to put your faith in Toronto. We've gone over that one before.
Yeah.
The West is a bit more open. We both thought Edmonton, we both thought Dallas could make a run. Colorado, they just happened to be matched up against Dallas. playoffs in the first round. There's a lot of stronger teams in the West, I feel like.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder if like if they can if this might be like your last shot, Edmonton, because it really does feel like A, you got a lot of contracts to sign next year, and B, the West is only getting stronger by the looks of it.
Yes, that is for sure. I think Edmonton has really got to capitalize on this opportunity. I am going to slightly favor Edmonton for two reasons. One would be the home ice. You can't discount that in hockey. Second would be that this is the third trip in a row for Florida to the finals. That takes a lot out of you in hockey. It is a grind. So you're talking about like Barkov and Kachuk and all those dudes have just played a ton of hockey the past 3 years.
Yeah. It does make me wonder of can they keep this up? Because again, this might be Florida's last year, and Florida as a state in general making it to the championship. Like a give or take, it's it's basically two teams, but like 6 years of the same state having two teams for 6 consecutive years to hold that dominance is something.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Since you live in Florida, how big is hockey down there? You see a lot of like fans across the nation like, oh, Florida, they're super juiced about hockey,
The Bolts have a massive fan base. I have seen like the Bolts have a solid fan base here. I can't say I can honestly say there's a good following for the Panthers from what I've seen whenever I go to South Florida. So it's solid. Like I think it admittedly did take a while, but I think the Bolts, like especially with the Panthers, because they were just basically the basement for a while. But the Bolts, regardless if they were good or bad, they always had a solid fan base.
Yeah, and it's probably been like your generation who grew up with them there, right? Everybody else was kind of like a transplant hockey fan, I would assume, right?
Yeah, it is very much now, like especially with Tampa, it's very much ingrained. And I think it's also because like Tampa is very Rays aside, it's very sports centered. It is very sports active, especially with the Bolts and the Bucks. And the Rays have just like I don't know what it is, but the Rays have been always solid, but they never have the same fan base. Like it just cannot keep up. And maybe that just says something about like baseball in Florida, because it is like a summer sport. And Jesus.
Like a lot of snowbirds down there, maybe, who are fans of other teams.
Well, it's not even that. Like you see like a lot of like again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to football real fast, they have a consistent fan base in Florida. But I would say the Bolts have it more. It's not even snowbirds. It is like 5th generation Floridians saying that they're Bolts fans. The Bolts, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, I don't know what it is, but they have a consistently strong, steady fan base. Florida, the Panthers have grown. Like, not even like bandwagoners. It's more like it's kind of grown since the rebuild.
Well, this rebuild's been very successful. That'll help, obviously, as they're at their 3rd Stanley Cup. But,
yeah. And I think also... Oh, sorry.
Who do you favor, Edmonton or Florida?
Well, I got to represent the state.
Okay, fair enough.
But I will say I will not be shocked if Edmonton wins this out. Like, if Edmonton's just on fire. Like, I have yet to see a team that can really, like, stack up to them. Whereas with Florida, it took Toronto self-imploding for Florida to win.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas Edmonton just annihilated everyone they came across.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking could be the difference here. I know Florida beat Edmonton last year. It seemed like they kind of caught Edmonton with their pants down early, hence they were able to go up 3-0, and then damn near squandered a 3-0 lead back to Edmonton when Edmonton got rolling. And if there's any team that's similar to Toronto in terms of just raw talent, it would be Edmonton, right? And in terms of like top-tier players being potentially otherworldly, with the difference being that for the most part, Edmonton's top guys can show up in the playoffs where Toronto's don't.
Yeah, it's really hard. to see how not Edmonton has just been just an absolute juggernaut. But again, I have to stress, this may be your one shot, Edmonton. This your last shot for a while. Panther, like, I don't know if we'll see a Florida team in the NHL for a 7th year.
It would be very tough. Although there is no heir apparent in the East. Like, Toronto would be the closest, I guess, and
I don't.
For sure, Marner's leaving.
The closest in the East would possibly be, depending on how the rebuild keeps going, is I would say the Canadiens have a shot.
Yeah.
I would also say the Washington Capitals, because we do have Ovechkin for one more year. So,
yeah. And Edmonton, their window might be one more year. Next year, Connor McDavid becomes free agent, and we'll get the biggest contract in the history of hockey.
Yeah, I can already tell Vegas is already trying to print it up right now and do the cap situation in their head.
Yeah, for sure. They're just masters of it. But for this finals, since we're talking about this finals, I think it should be a really fun series. You've got a skilled team in Edmonton going up against a very tough team in Florida, a rematch from last year. They know each other. You'll get the top defensive center in the league in Barkov going up against the top scorers in the league in McDavid and Draisaitl. It should be a fantastic series again, like last year's.
Yeah, I do not doubt that for a second, and I just hope we get 7 games. Like, I want this to be drug out like the NBA finals. Like, I don't want to live in a sportsless like watching racing. I don't want to anything to distract me from racing, and well, that's really it. It just sports in July is just a bore. Baseball aside, but baseball works better when you're actually at the park.
Yeah, it's better for a live sport for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 games would not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Right, would not surprise me at all. Because we know Florida knows how to beat Edmonton. We've seen that. Also, in hockey, a goaltender can make or break a series. Bobrovsky can certainly do that for the Panthers. Although Skinner's look pretty good for Edmonton so far.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down to God, Florida's defense is solid, but it's a great matchup again. It's really hard to see what weakness the other one can capitalize on, because it's hard to spot any weakness in these two teams.
No, it really is. And if you're somebody who's kind of maybe gotten interested in hockey since you and I started talking about this, as you would expect, you are going to get the 2 best teams in the finals. But I mean, there was no upset. You're getting the 2 best teams. If you are not a fan of hockey but are starting to get interested into it, I would say watch this series. Right, you're going to see the best of what the NHL has to offer for sure in terms of team play and then individual superstars as well.
Absolutely. And I also think that, just to shift real fast to NBA, I'm super excited. It's been a while since I've been excited for an NBA playoff, for an NBA championship, because it's cool to see finally someone else that isn't the Lakers or the Golden State Warriors or Miami Heat show up.
Or the Celtics, yeah.
Or the Celtics, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's great. I'm sure the NBA is thrilled to have 2 small market teams make it.
Oh, I hope ESPN's eating all the shit.
Yeah, I do too. But there's 2 very good teams and some very talented players. I'm a big Tyrese Halliburton fan, right? I think he's a great player.
Yeah. Would I prefer to see the Magic there? I understand we're in the middle of a rebuild, but come on, guys, we got to make it past the second round at some point.
True, yeah. The Magic and the Sixers are like the Maple Leafs of the freaking NBA. So,
yeah. I will say about the NBA playoffs real fast that I'm excited. I hope that goes to 7 games. The Pacers have been an underrated, just behemoth of a team, and OKC, holy crap, that might be a dynasty in the making.
Yeah, and I like that both teams aren't 3 big stars. They're both basically built from the draft and trades.
Yeah, it would not shock me. I mean, I don't know if the Pacers are there yet to be dynasty level, but Oklahoma, the Thunder, holy crap, I think they may be a dynasty. if
they have a lot of assets still too, like future draft picks from crappy teams coming up in the future.
Yeah, who do they get those from again?
Philadelphia.
Of course, round of applause, Matt, for the 76ers process. Hey, Matt, was I supposed to trust the process that other teams would get better? Was that the process?
That's the process for sure. The other teams would get better when the Sixers just continue to circle the toilet bowl. The Sixers are just a complete disaster. We can talk about them. Come NBA draft, that'll be a great time to bring their debacle of the situation.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, where are they drafting, Matt?
Drafting three, and almost that would shock the heck out of me. We're not for the Dallas Mavericks trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers and having a less than 2% chance of jumping to number one.
Yeah. Isn't that funny, NBA?
It's hilarious. I mean, if you look at the statistics for something like that to occur, it's I know that less than 2% seems low, but you would think that trading away your star that took you to the finals the previous year to the team that LeBron is on and the NBA needs to do well for ratings to do well, that's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like the NBA wanted to keep the Lakers relevant for just a little longer and, basically made an inside deal with the Dallas Mavericks. I'm just saying, allegedly.
Yeah, it's, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck,
Yeah. I love the fact no one was saying, oh, it's it just happened. Everyone was the general consensus across the board, if you're not mainstream sports media, is that was rigged.
For sure, because also we mentioned it briefly, but we thought that San Antonio jumped up to number 2, which is strange. And honestly, even the Sixers making it to 3 was really against odds, and it's obviously Philadelphia, a big market team. And had they slipped past 6, which is very possible, OKC would have gotten their pick, which I'm sure they would have made the right pick with, of course, unlike the Sixers will do. But the NBA is a mess. But I'm looking forward to the finals. I just don't want to see a free throw shooting contest. I'd like to see them actually play.
Yeah, I'm hoping for another 7-game series, and I just want to, because I want to see these two teams look really well matched, and B, I just want ESPN to eat all the shit the entire month.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
Yeah, I'm so happy that small markets can still compete, and it's nice to see that. I wish baseball could do the same.
But that's a totally different story.
Yeah.
Baseball is just mired in money. The big markets are always going to be the big markets and always compete.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've pretty much talked about this. We will be back talking about the Stanley Cup finals and maybe the NBA finals, assuming how it all ends. But you guys tell us in the comments below, what do you guys think of these of the finals? And Matt, as always, thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, thank you too. I guess we'll talk again at the end of probably both these series and wrap them both up a little bit.
Yeah. I think that's a smart idea. I feel like we should have done more of the NBA championship, but we were more focused on, because hockey suddenly just got really impressive this year.
Yeah. The NBA has been great. The NBA playoffs, it's been nice to see these two Cinderella type teams go through the usual contenders. That has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the NHL has been super hot this year. Coming off of the Four Nations tournament and heading into the Olympics next year has just been super hot. So we had to cover that.
And also, it's kind of supercharged because of other things.
Yes.
The big orange elephant in the room.
Yes, and with the Canadian team in the finals, it's kind of like that scene from Star Wars, "You're our last hope, Obi-Wan."
It's like that scene in Dragon Ball Z where all the Canadian teams are giving their energy for Edmonton Spirit Bomb.
Yes.
It's like the Maple Leafs, Habs, and Winnipeg are just all holding their hands up.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you guys tell us in the comments below what you guys think of this. I've been really enjoying Sports Monsters. It's just nice to talk. It's just a nice break from everything.
It's been a blast. Thank you for having me for this.
Yeah. This is not the final episode. I don't want anyone to think that. Yeah. But yeah. So just comment below. Let us know what you guys thought of this. And I guess we'll talk about those two finals. And yeah, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse, and I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.